Hello and welcome. I am Jacob Bellotti, joined as always by No One Mourns the Larry.
Excuse
No
me?
one mourns the Saperstein.
They're not going to mourn me?
That's right.
So you're saying that when I die, no one's going to mourn me?
I'll
I
mourn
just want
you.
you to think about that for a second. Think about the levels of hurt
Okay.
that could inflict.
All right. Well, welcome to Let's Talk About That.
All systems are a go.
Talking database activated.
Begin in 3, 2, 1.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what? Let's talk about who? Let's talk about me. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about that.
Girl, I cannot believe we are talking about that.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Let's talk about that.
The day is here.
The day has dawned.
I had a thought as we were getting ready for this episode that we were more timely for our Wicked review episode than we were for our election episode.
That's
the
true.
election came out and we did not release an episode on the election until 6 days after the election. Wicked the movie came out 4 days.
That's right. Well, we had an emergency recording session because we had to sit and talk about what we saw on the screen. This is the Wicked movie episode.
So if you have not seen the Wicked movie yet, first of all, who the fuck are you, cunt?
Yeah.
Second of all, pause this. Immediately go buy a ticket, go see the Wicked movie, spend 2 hours and 40 minutes of your life at a movie theater near you watching the Wicked film starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Then come back, press play, and listen to our review because, hello.
We will have spoilers galore going on here. We are breaking down every inch of the action that occurred in the Wicked movie.
And let's be real about something, too. If you have not seen the musical of Wicked on stage, I need you to go to a website called Expedia.com, buy a plane ticket to New York City, go to New York City, go to a website called Ticketmaster.com, buy a ticket to Wicked on Broadway, go to the Gershwin Theater on 50th Street in New York City, see the show, fly back to wherever you're from, then see the movie, then you can press play on this podcast episode.
Okay, well, alternatively, you could also buy a plane ticket to Los Angeles, California, and head to the Pantages Theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yes,
where probably a better production of Wicked will be playing. Will be playing until February.
It'll be comparable.
Are
but
you
I don't
kidding?
think it'll be better.
It will be better because they're not going to be robotic, and they'll actually be trying in their performance, especially in the wake of this movie.
That's true, but you have to understand that people don't come up from the stage.
They still does Elphaba fly?
Yeah.
Oh, well then who the fuck cares, Larry? Who the fuck cares?
But in Act 2, in No Good Deed, she won't come up from under the stage when she goes, Pharaoh!
Who the fuck cares?
Me.
Okay. Well,
I care.
Regardless, the Pantages production will be sure to be better than the New York one. So maybe buy a plane ticket and do that before you listen to this episode.
Yeah.
I will talk a little bit about people who haven't seen the original musical as we get into this movie because you know what? I'll talk about it right now.
Yeah, talk about it now.
I'm going to talk about it right now.
Now's the moment.
Yeah, now's the moment. We're here. This is the time to talk about it. You do not deserve to see this movie. Okay? This movie is well beyond anything that you deserve. If you have not seen this musical. Because
you had 22 years.
You had 22 years to see it.
Or 21 years.
And some of us have been on this train for far too long.
Yeah.
For you to just waltz into a movie theater and get to experience this magical experience.
Right.
Like, I saw this musical 20 years ago.
Right.
21 years ago.
Probably 21 years ago.
21 years ago with Miss Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah.
And I have been captivated since that moment.
Yeah.
And I have been in the lore of Wicked for that long.
Yeah. Me too, girl.
And it's just, to me, like, if you get to cop out and not see that and then go see this movie, I mean, what are you doing? Like you've had so long to see it.
You've had so long to see it. Come on.
You don't deserve this movie.
And the movie, the musical has been to a town near you. So don't say, I haven't seen it because I don't live near Broadway. I don't live near New York City. Bitch, it's toured all over the world for 20 years. You've had multiple opportunities to see Wicked the musical. I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean?
And I have done my research today.
Yeah.
Because I had told you that I had been anticipating this movie for 10 years.
Yes.
And that's actually not true. It was 8 years. It was over 8 years, 8.5 years.
Mm-hmm. So
I found the exact tweet, which we'll post on our Instagram at Let's Talk About That Pod.
Great.
That I sent because on June 16th, 2016, Universal Pictures posted Wicked the movie will be released in theaters on December 20th, 2019.
They said it was going to be released.
The official Universal Pictures account tweeted it will be released on December 20th, 2019.
Wow, I wonder where they got that number from.
I don't know, but they clearly took them 5 years longer than that.
Yeah.
But I retweeted that and I replied to it, tagging my friends at the time saying, oh my God, like wherever we are in the world, when this comes out, we need to go see it.
Yeah.
And that was 8.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so for all of you who don't know the Wicked lore and are just waltzing in, a little flase-dying yourself.
What am I going to see today?
Yeah. Oh, there's this new movie with Ariana Grande. She's so hot. Let me go check it out. Fuck you. Okay.
But I really, have you seen like evidence of anyone just going to the Wicked movie because they think Ariana Grande is hot?
So many fucking incels. Those Gen Z male incels. Yeah.
No, but incels don't think women are hot.
Okay, well the Gen Z alpha things or whatever they call themselves, the little pussy bitches,
the alpha males,
the pussy bitches.
Really, you've seen that?
Yes,
like clips of them. Being
people are going to do that, and
what
you know,
are they saying?
And this is where I told you that you were in a bubble about it because you thought you just assumed everybody has seen Wicked the musical, and that is ridiculous.
I operate on a baseline knowledge in the world that like everybody that I'm interacting with on a day-to-day basis has seen Wicked the musical,
and that's absolutely ridiculous because most people in this country had not seen Wicked.
I'm willing to argue that most people in this country have seen it, and I'm sure there's
absurd.
I'm sure that it's over 50%.
No, it is such a small subsect of the population that likes musicals.
But it's been running for so long, and it's sold millions and millions and millions.
Can I finish my argument? And will pay money to go see a show on a stage. That is a very small subsect of the population. It is. It just objectively is. It's the same way you didn't realize that Trump could win the election because there's so many fucking idiots in the country.
But you have to think that like even the fucking idiots, right? Like
they haven't seen Wicked.
But they have like a mom that wants to go see Wicked and they all went to see Wicked.
And you know what they say? Shut the hell up, Tina. Make us dinner. That's what they say. That's what they say to that mom. So they did not see Wicked when it came to their town.
I don't know. I think that there's plenty of people who like went to see Wicked because it was like touring in their town, and even if they themselves don't like musicals, I think that like, you know, that is a musical. I understand there's plenty of people in the world who have not seen Kimberly Akimbo. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people in the world who have not seen Cats. But like Wicked,
I would argue more people have seen Cats than Wicked, but that's just me.
You're going to argue that more people have seen Cats.
Yeah, because people used to care
Wicked.
about Broadway. When Cats came out, that was a time when the world cared about Broadway. But now, like, for the past 20 years, no one really cared about Broadway.
I am going to counter that and say that it's only been about the last 10 years that no one has cared about Broadway. I think, like, the first 10 years that Wicked was on Broadway, it still had that level of enthusiasm around Broadway shows.
But think about it. Kristen Chenoweth only became a star because she did The West Wing. That's why she became famous. Not because
Wasn't that before Wicked anyway?
It was after Wicked, actually. She was in it 2004 and 2005, 2006. 2005, 6, and 7 is when she was in it.
Look, this is really hard for me to speak to because in my mind, Kristen Chenoweth became a star because she did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown in 1999 or whatever.
Which no one has any idea that she ever did.
That's where she... okay. You're saying you're speaking in very broad terms.
I'm just pointing out
People
to you that you're in a
that
bubble.
She won it. That's where she won her first Tony Award.
Okay, maybe the 5,000 person Broadway community that cares, but nobody beyond that knows that.
I think it's more than 5,000.
And then Idina Menzel,
100,000.
Idina Menzel only became a superstar when she did Elsa in Frozen.
That I know. That I.
But it was the same with Kristen Chenoweth. She only became a star because she went on the most popular procedural drama in the world on television.
Look, I get it that, but like the thing with musicals is they become extremely popular over time. And I think by the time that Wicked really hit its stride where like everyone was going to see it, Kristen and Idina were already out of the show.
I just don't see most people who are working on farms going around singing, I think I'll try defying gravity.
Well, if you've seen the Target ad, you know that they do.
Okay, well, the Target ad.
I love it.
That's just... that's the marketing of this movie, which we will talk about and get into.
Yeah.
But most people really are just not in the sphere that you're in and don't really know these things about the show.
Well, it's a moot point because I'm willing to bet the percentage of people that listen to this podcast and have also seen Wicked the musical
is 100%.
Is 100%. I'm willing to bet that nobody is signing on to listen to our podcast.
But I'm just trying to open our minds to other perspectives in the world and what other people think. But all of those people might go see the movie because Ariana's got tits.
She actually doesn't really
No,
have tits.
she doesn't really.
She looks very slim. Very slim.
I know. I'm a little concerned about her health, girl. But that's a whole other conversation. Let's talk about the marketing of this movie.
Did you have a favorite Wicked collab?
Well, you mentioned the Target commercial, and I do think that was my favorite because I love the riff.
I really like the Target commercial. I feel like we haven't even gone to Target and seen the Wicked. Except
yes, we have.
We saw the Mattel toys. We
saw the dolls.
Yeah,
the Divas and the dolls.
I mean, that's fierce. Hello.
Yeah, except I will say the Target we went to in LA only had Elphaba and Galinda. When there's other characters that got dolls.
Well, which doll happens to be your favorite?
Nessa Rose.
You want the Nessa Rose doll?
I want the Nessa Rose doll.
Are you 100% serious? You want the
it's
Nessa
fierce.
Rose doll?
I think it's the first wheelchair Barbie.
That's not true.
What do you mean that's not true?
There was wheelchair Barbie like in the movie Barbie.
But I don't think they released a doll of wheelchair Barbie.
I think they have. I think they have. I'm not trying to like be shady. I think they have. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the first one.
But I think it could be like the first wheelchair Barbie like in collaboration with a major motion picture. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The first wheelchair Barbie character. Like, that's fierce.
I think that is really fierce. Obviously, Elphaba,
Yeah.
the queen,
so
the diva.
So you just want them all.
Yeah, I just want all of them. Well, it's funny because I love the character of Glinda.
Yeah.
I don't really love the Glinda doll.
Well, I mean, it's kind of just a regular Barbie.
It's just a regular Barbie, but Elphaba's is like super unique.
Right. I mean, that's like a unique Barbie. Like
fine.
They've never had a green Barbie.
Right. Why would they have a green Barbie?
Right.
But there's been so many collaborations.
Yeah.
I actually think the H&M collection, don't hate me, is
I didn't
cute.
see it.
It's cute. The outfits they
what
have
kind of things
from Wicked.
What are the cute?
They have this like green vest that's really cute and like these pajama pants that are super adorable.
Yeah.
They have like a black jacket like with a black Wicked like sequin insignia in it, which is fierce.
That's some cute stuff.
Yeah, they have like a really cute Wicked collection that they're
it's
on
just
now.
So crazy to see like Wicked merch all over the world.
I know, because it's always been such a small thing. It's always been such like a small community of people that enjoyed it, and now it's like becoming a worldwide thing.
And like we, for so long in my life, like the only place you could get Wicked merchandise was a theater or like online, like through the official
ebay.com.
Sure, but like online through like the theater community or like seeing it at a theater. And it's just so weird to be like it almost feels I'm of two minds, right? Because just like the thing that you said, right? Like I have loved Wicked for so long, right? I saw the musical when I was like 10 years old. I have the like Grimmery book, which is modeled after the Grimmery in the musical, but inside it has all of this it's a huge like picture book and a book about the creation of the musical. So it has like sketches of original costume design, photos of like makeup design, sketches of scenic design, little notes about how some of the music was written and like what were the inspirations for all the different things. So like I know so much about the creation of the show. I've also read the novel, which we've talked about on this podcast, like, and you've read it as well.
I sure have.
And it
get
does
my pat to
like,
the Vinkus girl.
Yeah, and it does seem a little silly that like someone who doesn't have that amount of prerequisite knowledge is like going to Target and buying like a Wicked.
Look at that Wicked sweater. That look good on my daughter. Well, that's my imitation of,
I thought you were being a mom. I thought you were doing a mom.
No,
impression.
I was doing an awful Midwestern father who's disgusting and awful.
I don't think a Midwestern father is going to buy his daughter a Wicked sweater. But I think, Mary Teresa Beth is going to go buy Mary Sue a sweater.
Oh, wow. Look at that sweater.
Yeah.
That sweater looks so good.
It's the movie about the Wicked Witch of the West. It has that Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande? Yeah. That sounds so fun.
Well, I really like the there's like a Vera Bradley bag that I think is super cute.
There was a Coach one that was fierce.
Oh, I didn't see the Coach,
the Coach one was fierce.
I mean, look, I'm not like a Vera Bradley girl. I know that many people are, especially like when I was in high school, all the girls.
My mom was the fiercest Vera Bradley Tina moment.
I feel like all the girls had like a Vera Bradley lunchbox. When I was in like high school.
Okay, I don't know about that, but my mom had all the Vera Bradley bags.
Like big bags, like luggage?
Like luggage, like duffel bags, handbags, all of it. All the Vera Bradleys.
Do you think your mom's going to see the Wicked movie?
I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah, does your mom like
I'm
Wicked?
forcing my dad to go.
Really?
I bullied him over text today to go see it.
What was the conversation? What did you say?
I said you need to go see the Wicked movie, and then he was like, I don't really know what Wicked is. And then I gave him...
So your dad has never seen Wicked the musical on Broadway?
Never.
Wow.
Yeah. See? There you go.
That's so interesting.
See? I'm telling you, people haven't seen it.
Anyway, so he's never seen it, and he said he didn't know what it was. And then
I gave him an incredible synopsis of like what the plot is, and he, what's so ridiculous about all of this is that he saw Kristen Chenoweth live in concert like 2 months ago.
Why?
Because she was like performing in like Philadelphia or something,
and he wanted to see her.
Yeah, so he went to see Kristen Chenoweth sing.
And again, I'm going to regret asking this, but how the hell does he even know who Kristen Chenoweth is if he's never seen Wicked?
Well, because of the West Wing.
You're saying your dad knows Kristen Chenoweth only because of the West Wing?
Yeah.
Crazy.
As most people did.
I disagree with most. I'm gonna really stick it hard that I disagree with most.
Okay.
But that is wild to me.
Well, that is the world we live in, Larry. That is the world you are living in.
It's not the world currently. I live in.
No,
I live in the world of musical theater.
You live in a big bubble of delusion bigger than fucking Glinda's bubble at the beginning of that movie, girl. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about the Wicked movie.
I think the best thing to do would be to just go scene by scene.
I think so.
So we open on a beautiful. Actually,
wrong. We open in an attic where the Wicked Witch has just melted.
Yes.
And we see her hat and fire around puddles.
Right.
Of where she would have melted.
Right.
And then we get sweeping shots of the Land of Oz, including a little Bach, Fiyero, Dorothy, and
you mean the Tin Man? You just ruined part 2 for a lot of people who have never seen the musical.
Well,
we see the Tin Man, the lion,
as we said,
Scarecrow.
Everybody who listens to this podcast has seen the musical, as we've already established.
Which, by the way, I think that is so crazy that in the novel of Wicked, Bach is not the Tin Man.
No.
And Fiyero is not the Scarecrow. Like, I think that is like such a fierce aspect of the musical that they took it all and merged it all together and was like, it's not just the story of the Wicked Witch of the West, it's also the story of how all these characters in Oz came to be.
Yeah. So we see those sweeping shots, Dorothy, that little bitch, strutting along that yellow brick road.
Yeah.
We get all the nice Technicolor stuff that frankly I wish carried through the rest of the movie, but unfortunately it did not.
Okay.
But we see all that nice Technicolor stuff. Glinda descends in her bubble. We get a lot of well-groomed and very pretty townspeople singing "Good News."
I also really liked the so talking about orchestration for a minute.
Yeah.
In the musical, it goes bum 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 bum.
Yes.
Right. In this, it was like bum 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 bum. Good news. Good news. I will say that I really did like all of the orchestration and like musical changes. There weren't many, which I really appreciate, and I think that anytime it was done in the movie, it was done in an effort to like make it more grand for the movie, which I really appreciate.
They did definitely movify the soundtrack to make it much more epic and much more like emphatic, and that included putting more pauses in between lines,
but without taking away. They never took away like the intention or like any of the iconic kind of melodic underscoring. Do you know what I mean?
Right, and that's why I'm glad that Steven Schwartz actually did the movie.
Yes,
he did the movie, so that level of care was put into it.
On that same note, Winnie Holtzman fierce.
Diva down. Okay.
We're like two huge Winnie Holtzman fans. Like,
we love her.
Here.
We watched a
honestly, I bet we could get Winnie Holtzman on the pod.
We watched a 2-hour panel that she did interviewing Lisa Kudrow about the comeback. That's how deep into Winnie Holtzman lore we are.
Yeah, if you don't know who Winnie Holtzman is the book writer of the musical. So she wrote the script for the musical and also the script for the movie.
Yes, she wrote the movie script, which is a lot different than writing.
But she did not write the novel.
Script. She did not write the novel, thank God, because I don't think I could stand her if she wrote that novel.
I will really say, like, after...
And she made a cameo in the movie.
And she made a cameo
as
well as Steven Schwartz did as well.
Yes.
But I will say that I'm still think it's so fierce that after reading that book, I am like, girl, the magic that Winnie Holtzman and Steven Schwartz did on that piece of questionable material, turning it into the spectacle that Wicked has become. Like, they deserve every praise in the world for that. They deserve every penny.
Iconic behavior from both of them. Absolutely. But Glinda descends in her bubble. We go through the whole no one mourns the wicked scene. And I do enjoy that. This is my favorite thing that Ariana Grande did in her performance. Was on the last wicked, boom, wicked, boom, wicked. And then she goes up an octave. She goes up even further than Glinda goes in the musical.
And she
in a whistle tone.
Right. That is her right, and she deserves it.
Which I loved. And at this point, keep in mind, we have not seen Cynthia Erivo yet. Then we start going through Elphaba's childhood. which, includes younger versions of Elphaba.
Well, so that was a moment that they extended because so in No One Mourns the Wicked on Broadway, it's like, take it away. So Elphaba is born, the baby is unnaturally green,
yes.
right? And the father goes, take it away, take it away. And then it comes back to No One Mourns the Wicked.
Right.
In this, they added like another few minutes of seeing like...
Including multiple CGI bears.
Yes, which I actually thought was a really, really great addition, because in the musical you do see that one of the like midwives who's helping give birth to Elphaba is an animal, like a ram. I'm not exactly sure what kind of animal, but I did think it was great to include the animals in like Elphaba's childhood.
Yes, I was wondering going into the movie how they were going to handle the whole infidelity scene, and because I was like, well, that might be a little questionable for a movie that's like, supposed to be so that kids can go see it.
Yeah, I think it was handled exactly the same as it is in the musical.
And here's my one qualm with now the soundtrack is they included the fucking baby crying noises in No One Mourns the Wicked, which is just infuriating to me. I mean, nobody nobody wants to hear a baby crying.
Yeah, if there's one thing that Jacob Bellotti truly hates, it's babies.
Listen, all right, fine. The people need a villain. All right, to quote the wizard, the people need a villain.
Give him a good villain.
No, that is not true, Larry. But I do not want to hear a baby crying in music that I'm voluntarily listening to.
Right.
That is just upsetting because it's awful sounds.
Sure.
So anyway, we move past that. We got to keep rolling along.
Yeah, we got to keep moving along.
We have so much to get to.
Yeah, this movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Right, and so then Glinda, floats. Should they make a funny joke that wasn't in the musical?
I liked that,
where she goes in the bubble and pretends she can't hear the question, and then pops the bubble.
I wasn't saying that.
And then she pops the bubble and here's the question, but was it true that you were friends with her?
Right. I liked when she's like, if there's no further questions, I'm gonna go. And she I thought this was a clever production design choice where she pushes down on the contraption and the bubble forms around this throne thing. I really liked that design. Generally, I thought the production design was absolutely incredible and deserves an Oscar. That's my general no.
Yes. I will challenge that a bit when we get to Shiz.
Okay.
Which we might as well get to.
Yeah, we're basically at Shiz.
We're basically when they get to Shiz University.
So arrive by boat.
Yes.
And we watched a video about the production design of the movie of Wicked.
We did.
Obviously, in the musical, they kind of just come on stage. There's not really any travel to Shiz. The set just kind of appears.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really fierce. In the movie, they arrive by boat, and the production designer said, look, we had a few options for how we could make people arrive. They don't have cars in Oz, so no cars. We can't do a train because a train is reserved for the travel to the Emerald City. We can't do a hot air balloon because that is reserved for the wizard.
There's no planes.
So it kind of leaves only one. They can't do horses because that is how Fiyero arrives. So
and also that they speak.
Oh, right. And also
Animals
that
speak.
horses are people, right? So
right.
It really was kind of the only option, which I never really thought about when seeing all the trailer material for the movie. Then seeing that, I'm like, oh, it actually makes sense.
Yeah, it made sense for sure. And that now we arrive at Shiz. Okay, so here's my problem with the production design in this thing, because frankly, we're at Shiz for most of this movie, right?
Yeah,
we're at Shiz.
And then it's in the second movie, we're never going to be at Shiz.
We're never going to be at Shiz.
Yeah.
But in this movie, we're mostly at Shiz.
Right.
Shiz was not colorful. It was very tan. It was very brown. It did not call back to The Wizard of Oz, which was the first Technicolor movie.
But it's also not a place that's in The Wizard of Oz.
but that was the first Technicolor movie, and I would appreciate some commitment to honoring that legacy, which all of this birthed from.
Yeah,
and also the renderings that they had of Shiz, before they built the set, were spectacularly gorgeous and colorful, and then they built it and it wasn't.
I honestly think that is more a note on the color grading and also the art direction rather than the production design.
I don't know if that's necessarily true because the actual structures weren't very colorful.
I think it was like the roofing was colorful, but you never really saw it in the shots.
Right, but they should have made like the walls colorful. Like the architecture should have been colorful.
Yeah.
Because like that would have visually made it a little bit more spectacular.
To me, that doesn't bother me as much because you had a really colorful opening number, and I think you want to save some of that color for when you get to the Emerald City and everything's supposed to be
right, but we don't get to the Emerald City until like 2 hours into the movie.
Yeah,
so we're at this place for so long during this movie that it's like, I would have appreciated a bit more color.
Yeah, I think they gave us
even when
color...
Elphaba runs out of shiz.
I was gonna get there. I was waiting to get there until we got to the Wizard and I.
Okay, get to it.
But the absolute audacity to have her like run out onto this cliff and be like, and I'll stand there with the wizard, and then it pans over and she's in front of a desert.
Yes. Yeah.
And then like she's running.
She's in an empty grain field.
She's running on that field and it's like wheat.
And it's like, are they trying to like recall back to Kansas in like
maybe I didn't think of that.
But still, we're not. It like literally the fucking line. The fucking line is we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah,
like this is not Kansas, bitch. I don't want to see a wheat field.
Right.
And listen, I've received specific instructions about what I can say about the direction of this movie. And I will say that throughout most of this movie, the main characters wandered aimlessly through their numbers as background dancers did the most in random spots where you couldn't really see them because of where the camera was pointed. And I think there is a job on the set that would be able to fix that issue, but unfortunately that job was not particularly inhabited by someone who is able to do those things.
Look, I think that is like really the big thing about this movie, and I'll say this and then maybe we'll take a little break for a second, come back. I think like the movie it like was amazing though. Like it's such a weird thing because I really felt like the movie was incredible. I loved it. I was having an incredible time.
Me too.
But then there were also these moments like in
what is this
feeling, which we'll get to in a second, like where you were kind of like, wait, what am I supposed to be looking at on screen?
It was extremely busy at certain points, but I had the absolute best time watching it. I'm not knocking it, and I think that speaks to the strength of the songs and the story of Wicked.
I mean, the story is so captivating.
Yeah.
And such an amazing like metaphor for honestly what we're going through right now.
Exactly. All right, more let's talk about that right after this. And we're back.
All right, so one thing we kind of skipped over is we meet Nessa Rose and Bach, who...
Bach was in this movie for about 0.3 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it is kind of
You blink and you miss him.
I mean, that is kind of how it is in the musical, too. Like, he has his, like, one moment in Act 1 and his one couple moments in Act 2, and, like, that's it. And obviously, this movie was only Act 1 of Wicked, so...
But I can't help but feel that the controversy with him and Ariana Grande...
I don't think so.
I think played into how much camera time
I don't think that a major motion picture studio would let online controversy affect their movie.
That is all they do. That's the only thing they do.
I don't know. I think
absolutely the only thing
I think they're like,
do.
this is the movie, and we're going to make the movie. Who cares what they say? Like,
I completely disagree. He was severely limited in his on-camera presence because of that controversy.
Well, I would have been controversy-free, I'll tell you that. I would have been a controversy-free choice.
Yeah, well, You didn't get it. So how many times we're going to go over this? Oh my God. We talk about this sometimes. It's funny because we'll be laying in bed, you'd be like, oh, I wish I'd gotten Wicked. And I'm like, yeah, but then we never would have started dating and we wouldn't be together. And then like 2 minutes later you go, man, I wish I had gotten Wicked.
I think
it makes me feel really special and appreciated.
But you have to understand, I would have been in the Wicked movie.
Okay, but I wouldn't be with you, so I wouldn't be excited.
No, you'd still. I think we would have found our way to each other, honey. That's what
he says.
That's
but
what I agree.
The reality is he would have been dating Ariana fucking Grande.
No, I would not be dating Ariana Grande.
Ethan Slater did.
Jonathan Bailey, hit me up. I'm kidding.
This is what I go through. This is what I go through to be with this man. Larry is absolutely the hardest person to be with of all time.
Yeah, it's really a hard.
So we meet our characters. We meet Madame Morrible.
Yes, Madame Morrible. We meet her.
Michelle Yeoh.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to what is this feeling as Glinda and Elphaba,
right? Which we already said. You know, it's a little
all over the place.
Hard to tell what was going on. Although I did like the kind of cutting back and forth of like the two of them having like little quarrels, like Glinda trying to like set the room up her way, and then Elphaba trying to set the room up her way, and then like them like taking like that weird fencing class.
Yeah, I don't even remember that because I was too overwhelmed by everything else that was on screen that I didn't really understand what I was looking at.
Yeah, and Bowen Yang. Stellar performance from Bowen Yang.
Okay, we'll get to the performances a little bit later. But we go through that. We meet Dr. Dilliman.
Yes.
The Wizard and I happens, right? Or did that already happen?
The Wizard and I. Then what is this feeling?
Okay.
Then the next thing. Okay. So then this was a really interesting one for me. So the next thing is something bad, right? Something bad happening in Oz, right? And we got to the scene where in the musical that song happens. Dr. Dilliman flips over the chalkboard, which I actually was very surprised. It was basically exactly the same as it is on Broadway. Like he literally just flips over the chalkboard. They didn't try to do like any kind of creative thing. I did think it was a beautiful like cinematic moment where he was like using that kind of Ozian projector talking about like animals used to have the same rights as and the ceiling kind of closes in and the sunlight comes through and like lights up this projector. I thought that was a beautiful production design choice. I really liked that. So then they kind of move past that scene and I was like, oh, I guess they cut that number because I didn't know that scene had been.
They weren't going to cut a number.
I thought maybe they did, but then I actually thought the way that they did it was even more impressive. Having like kind of this secret sorority or fraternity, I guess, of animals talking and like there's only so many.
It was a sorority. The sisters.
Yeah, the sisters. The animal
gathered
sisters.
the sisters.
And I mean fraternity, not in like the Greek life sense. I mean in like the brotherhood sense.
Yeah.
And I thought that was.
Why gotta be brother?
Well, the brethren. You know what I mean?
The brethren.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I felt like that was really very kind of poignant. I don't know. I really liked it because you were really seeing like all of the animals.
Yeah. And I like that we got a bit more of Elphaba with Dr. Dilliman than we get in the musical, which is in the book, they're very close and they spend lots and lots of time together.
It felt like a nice bridging of that.
Right. And the vision, and then she gets the vision of Dr. Dilliman being in a cage and unable to speak.
Right.
Which speaks to what happens to him after.
Right.
Which,
by the way, in the book, murdered.
He gets
murdered.
He gets slaughtered. He gets
like neck sliced open by a robot.
Horrifically murdered.
Yeah.
And then we get Fiera's arrival. Right, that's next, and then Popular.
That was a difference too because he runs into Elphaba before he kind of meets everyone else.
Right.
And so
that is what happens in the book too.
Fiera
meets Yes, Fiyero meets
Elphaba
first.
but not in the musical.
Not in the musical.
So I thought that was interesting. Then we had the whole dancing through life sequence.
Yes.
So
I loved the rotating bookcases.
Love the rotating bookcases. That was such a cool dance element, like incorporating that into dance.
Yes, and I enjoyed the way Jonathan Bailey aimlessly wandered through that.
But let me tell you, he aimlessly wandered very sexily.
Okay, well,
very sexily.
All right,
throughout that library.
Okay, great. And
I liked the added line. Ariana Grande says, like, "This is the place where we keep the books."
Yes,
or something.
So they added a few jokes.
Yes, a few jokes were added.
That number was fine. I don't really have much else to say about it.
But what did you think of the like the Oz Dust Ballroom?
Hated.
Really?
Hated the Oz Dust Ballroom.
You didn't like the Oz Dust
underwater
Ballroom? Yeah,
one?
the underwater thing where like there's fish all above and
yeah, I think it could have been more spectacular and grand.
Okay.
Like think of like the Yule Ball in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Like when they take the Great Hall and make it like into a winter wonderland thing. You remember that?
Yeah.
Like that's what I wanted from the Ozball set.
Yeah, I think it's really an interesting thing because I think that one of the things that I felt like was missing for me in the just look of the movie was like there was this element of magic that I felt was missing.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't mean like movie magic. I mean like magic, wizard magic.
Yeah.
But it's also this thing of like not a lot of these characters are magical. There's only a few characters that actually have magic. It's not necessarily a world full of magic. You know what I mean?
Right. Unless you consider like animals talking to be magic or
which I don't think that it's meant to I don't think that's meant to be magical.
No.
I think that's meant to be just reality.
Normal.
Yeah.
And so then we get to Popular. Popular I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
I think it was fun how they extended some of the riffs a little bit on it. I thought that was a really fun addition to the song. And I don't know, it was weird to me in the movie. A lot of the songs felt much more broken up than they did in
They
the
added
musical.
little like interstitial like scenes.
They
and
did,
stuff
right?
throughout.
Am I crazy?
Yeah.
Like I felt like it was the songs came in fragments more.
Yeah. And that kind of speaks to one prediction that I had about the movie that I think I was pretty wrong on, which was I felt that they were going to kind of add these additional plot points in, like from using like the novel as source material, and
they did a little bit, and we'll get to
the
that.
depth of the world a little bit, which they did a little bit, but honestly, most of that time difference, because the musical itself, when you see the musical on Broadway, it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. Or 2 hours and like 45 minutes, whatever. This movie, which is just Act 1, was that same time.
Right. Oh!
It took me 20 episodes to sneeze
No,
again.
you sneezed before. Oh, yeah. You did sneeze.
Yeah, but I haven't sneezed on the podcast since then, I think.
Oh, my goodness.
But so I felt like they were really padding the sequences there with just like breath and time.
Yes, they gave a lot of the numbers much more space.
Did it ever feel like it was dragging to you, though?
No, I didn't feel like it was dragging.
I think the opposite is true, where it actually feels like the musical is rushing.
Right.
I think when you see the musical, you're like, holy shit.
We had this when we saw the musical in February of this year. We talked about it on like an earlier episode. How like For Good was like a minute and a half. I was like,
it clips by. Like
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason.
Yeah,
it's exactly.
Like, what? it clips by. I think.
Yeah,
on
they
Broadway.
they took their time with all of the numbers, which I did appreciate about this adaptation. Okay, so I do want to get to now. They start to go to the Emerald City.
Yes.
And I know I'm skipping a little bit, but
I really liked, just before we get there, I really liked the invitation to the Emerald City. That was
fun. That was cute. The little hot air balloon thing.
Yes. That
was very cute. They go to the Emerald City, and we get, of course, One Short Day, which was one of my most anticipated sequences.
Honestly, this was my favorite sequence in the whole movie.
Was it? Okay.
I think it was.
I think the same was true in that particular job that I mentioned earlier, where I think it was hard to know what to look at on the screen during it. And there was like way too much happening, and again the main characters kind of wandered aimlessly through
there's
it.
a lot happening, but the things are not necessarily happening to the main characters.
Yes, and it's very difficult to like see something and understand what's happening before it jumps to the next thing and understand what's happening. But then we get Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth ascending from the heavens.
The gag of all gags.
Entering our screens.
This is the number. And I honestly had just not even really thought that they were going to appear.
I didn't either.
I was just like, they're just not going to appear. Maybe
right.
It'll be like
and it's like, I get like, oh, they brought them to the premiere. That's cute because they were the originals. And then here they are on our screens in the Wicked movie.
And they got like a 2-minute
They got
sequence.
a 2-minute, basically its own song.
Yeah, kind of almost like a new song, which like in the musical you have this like Wizomania number where you kind of learn about how the residents of the Emerald City view the Wizard of Oz.
Right.
This I thought was a really smart addition because they contextualize some things and add some information about things that you don't really get in the musical, which is like the importance of the Grimmery, the book, which is a huge deal in the novel.
Oh my God, it's the biggest deal in the novel.
And this I thought was really, really, really interesting. How they
incorporated them, and they let Kristen hit her high notes, and they let Idina Menzel do her iconic
100%. And they had Kristen and Ari have a moment, and they had Idina and Cynthia have a moment.
Yes, and then we got Winnie.
We got the Winnie cameo. We got the Stephen Schwartz cameo. We got the random guy that plays Fiyero. How funny is that
Stephen Schwartz is actually going to be, he's actually in the soundtrack
of his own musical.
His voice is in it. He says, "The wizard will see you now."
If there's anything in life that he deserves, it's that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got that one cameo of the random guy who randomly played Fiyero for a year on Broadway.
Yeah.
Being the other guard.
Yeah. And that was spectacular. I thought.
I really, really, really liked that additional section. I think it explained very clearly, like, this is the book, this is why it's important.
Oh, and also one thing, going back to Shiz for just 1 second, I loved how the poppies put everyone to sleep when she was trying to save the cub, as a beautiful reference to the Wizard of Oz.
That was really,
and the
really
poppy
great.
fields that were made of pure asbestos, by the way, in the production of the original Wizard of Oz.
We kind of skipped over I'm Not That Girl.
I know. I did skip it intentionally because I don't think it's much of a number.
Yeah, I was going to say one kind of thought that I have on that. In the musical, when they do I'm Not That Girl, you see Fiyero and Glinda together, like on the bridge, and she's like sitting down looking at them.
Yes.
You didn't get that in the musical, in the movie.
I didn't need it though. I felt okay without it.
I wish that there was more interaction in that number.
Okay, well, I wish there was more interaction in all of the numbers. But that didn't happen.
Right.
So now we're finally in the palace. We're in the Emerald Palace in the Emerald City.
Gorgeous.
Gorgina. What did you think of the CGI'd flying monkeys?
I didn't hate it.
You didn't hate it?
No.
Okay, I didn't hate it either, but I did almost wish they had kept the practical elements of it being a person in costume.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how maybe it was a person in costume, do you think? Or was it completely CGI?
It was they were completely CGI'd monkeys.
I mean, look, you had, like, up to this point in the movie, you have a CGI goat. You have a CGI horse.
We've had a lot of CGI.
You have a CGI panther.
We've had a lot of CGI.
You know what I mean? So it's just
I get it.
CGI bears.
But I do think that is so magical in the stage show, the way the monkeys are, like portrayed.
And then the way that he like turns into a flying monkey with like the thing coming out.
And we'll get to that in 1 second.
Yeah.
So then she meets the wizard.
In the musical, I mean.
Yes. Yeah. In the movie, they meet the wizard. We get this amazing 3D model, which, of course, listeners of our show would know that Larry and I freaked out over because a little model of
dream.
Oz.
It's my dream. They added that soundbite of Kris Jenner being like, "It's my dream. It's my dream. That's me."
Yeah.
Looking at that model.
I know.
Wizard of Oz.
I know.
Of Oz.
I know. I felt the same way, and it was fun that they. I want your opinion on this. Did they do too much explaining things in The Wizard of Oz?
What do you mean?
In this movie, like her hat having an origin story.
Whose hat?
Elphaba's witch's hat having an origin story.
But that's in the musical too.
I know, but I think they went a little further with it in this one.
All she said was that was my granny's hat, my grandma's hat.
I know, but that is a bit further. And then also having them choose the color of the brick road.
I loved that.
The yellow brick road.
I loved that.
And also, her getting the cape and the broom and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, like and the poppies and obviously what will happen in the second movie, with Bach and Fiyero becoming friends of Dorothy.
Right.
Friends of Dorothy.
Hello, he's a friend of Dorothy.
They should have been.
It's a metaphor for gay.
They should have been. I mean, Fiyero is the gayest fucking person I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I thought maybe it was like, was that a bridge too far? It wasn't for me, but maybe for some people it might have been.
I actually even loved the additions. I mean, so in the musical, when Fiyero and Elphaba take the cub to the thing and they let him out.
Yeah.
That is like a poppy. It's supposed to be a suggestion of a poppy field that they let him out in.
Oh, that was not the case.
All the things flip over and there's red flowers. But that wasn't the case in this, but I liked that they did the poppies in the other section. Yeah. And then I loved picking the color of the yellow brick road.
Yeah, that was fun.
I thought that was
the diorama was so
smart.
fun. I did like the practicality, the old Hollywood feel of Jeff Goldblum dancing behind.
Yes,
behind
the shadow
it.
work.
Yeah,
making that number a sentimental man something, because in the musical it's just a kind of introduction of his character.
Right.
I also loved that we discovered that the big wizard head was practical, a practical puppet.
It was, but I expected that because that's what it is on the stage,
right? But just bigger. You know? Loved that.
Right,
that
everything's
beautiful.
bigger because it's a movie.
Yeah.
And then we get Elphaba casting the spell that turns the monkeys.
Loved that. I loved the sequence where all of
the Grimmery looked very cool in this. I will say I liked that.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool where it kind of moved around and only
it had the 4 panels.
Yeah, only showed the right combination of panels to the right person.
And then obviously we get Elphaba running through the palace, getting chased down. There was a major jump scare.
Yes. Oh my God. I literally went, whoo.
Yeah. We both jumped and you made an audible scream.
Yes.
A very womanly scream, I might add.
Okay. I'm a woman.
And then we get an additional...
the jump scare was a monkey coming at her.
And then we get into, of course, the moment that everybody has been waiting for the entire movie, the Defying Gravity.
The moment that Jacob Bellotti has been waiting for.
Okay, no. The moment that everybody has been waiting for the entire movie, the Defying Gravity sequence.
Yeah.
And it has a strong start. I loved that they incorporated the hot air balloon.
Yes. Really cool addition.
Very fun addition from the musical.
Yeah, and when they got into that room where it was very clearly the attic room, I leaned over to Jacob and I said, "Here we go, baby."
Yeah.
Here we go.
I know. And little did we know that they had to go up and then into another room.
Yeah, they had to go up again.
Into another room that was a different room. Also, I like that Defying Gravity felt more urgent. In this one, the guards were really they raised the stakes.
Because in the musical, the monkeys are not coming after her either. So
the monkeys aren't coming after her.
The monkeys and the guards.
And the guards in the movie got to them before before I was expecting them to. I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
I even though I know exactly what's gonna happen, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then of course we get the iconic riffs, right, of Elphaba.
She sings, it sounds amazing. One thing I really loved, in Defying Gravity was that she doesn't just fly right away.
Right.
She jumps off and like falls.
She sees the younger version of herself, reaches out.
I liked it.
Reaches out, and that's where the broom is.
I liked it.
Loved it. And then she does her iconic riff. I like that they kept in the "It's me."
Yeah.
So if you care to find me.
Yeah, definitely.
And then they added some unlimiteds into it.
Yeah.
And then we finally, I like how everything stops. The entire movie stops for Cynthia to go,
yeah.
And that was, of course, iconic. I didn't love that it didn't end with that riff.
Yeah, it had like another like 25 seconds
and
of
then,
like dun 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 dun.
And then they go wicked.
Yeah.
And it's like dun 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 wicked. Bam.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
Which would like. Yes, that is epic and that is cinema, but let's be real.
I think they just needed to make it cinema.
Yeah, but let's be real. Elphaba's last run and the way Cynthia Erivo attacked that last run, which is, of course, the run that everybody has seen now and it's in the Target ad and all that, was so iconic that I felt that would have been the perfect place to just slam to black, you know?
I agree. I actually agree. I think if I was the director of the movie, I would have just went boom.
Her flying was very jarring. It was very fast.
It was very fast, but I thought it was fierce.
I thought it was fierce.
Also, I really liked that when she was... I kind of pictured that she would just be like flying on the broom like during that whole. So
no,
if you
she's
care
just
kind of
like holding it.
Well, I like because that's what she does on Broadway, and I liked that it felt kind of like an homage to how it is staged on Broadway, where she's like holding. It was the broom.
An homage, but also so sleek and like she kind of flew like Voldemort flies in Harry Potter. But I don't think you've seen that yet. That happens more in the 7th one. The way he flies. But it was very quick and like boom
very
boom boom.
Quick and the cape.
I was like, you know, I couldn't even breathe during this whole sequence.
Yeah, it was really
so
quite
spectacular,
beautiful.
And so let's talk a little bit about the performances before we go.
Yeah.
I thought Cynthia Erivo knocked it out of the park.
I thought Ariana Grande slayed.
Yeah.
I am so impressed with her. Yeah. I think that, like, I genuinely think that she disappeared into the character of Glinda. And it wasn't Kristen Chenoweth's Glinda.
No.
It wasn't the Glinda that we necessarily all know
and love.
But it was a new version of Glinda. It was a modern version of Glinda, and I think it was like incredibly believable.
Well, for me, it was Glinda as Ariana Grande.
I don't know. I don't think I agree with that.
When you're saying modernized version, different Glinda, yeah, it was Glinda as Ariana Grande.
But that's what it is to be like a popular girl now. Like that's what these popular girls dress like and look like and talk like.
I guess
it was believable for me.
I guess. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, they had her all in pink the whole time, which is interesting because in the musical she's in blue.
Right, she's in blue.
And then she's in yellow.
Right. There's some more color shifts in the musical, which I don't know. I'm of two minds. I like that in the musical she's not in pink all the time. And I like that they kind of give different colors, but I also appreciate the commitment to like the color scheme. One thing about the costumes that I will say, I don't love that we see Elphaba in the movie, that we see Elphaba in black at first. I think that they're really smart in the musical of saving the all black until later.
Until it
all comes together. Yeah. In the musical, you see Elphaba in like the uniform.
But that being said, Elphaba's like Wicked Witch costume is fierce in the movie.
I thought the Shiz costume, the Shiz uniform costume was really
interesting.
Cute
okay,
on Elphaba.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily like that. That didn't stick out to me, but like I did specifically notice like her Wicked Witch costume was fierce Tina in this movie.
Yeah.
But
so more performance talk. So
okay, I don't know why the fuck Bowen Yang was in this movie. Why was he in this movie?
I thought it was great. I thought he was funny.
I get that we like maybe needed some comedic relief.
I think that's exactly why.
But like, He can't
Who
dance.
was the girl?
And when they put him in the dancing, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, he can't dance. This is like weird.
Who was the girl?
He also can't sing. So there's that.
I don't know.
But I was like, why is he in this? I don't know who the woman was.
I wish that they cast like another like well-known comedic actress as the girl.
Right. I don't know. I don't know.
She was
who it
funny and all. It just kind of felt like superfluous.
It almost felt like your eyes were never on her.
Because your eyes were always on Bowen Yang.
Were on Bowen Yang when he was on the screen.
Right. Anytime they cut to the two of them, you were just looking at
I definitely agree. I think, who would have been a good choice for that was, what's her name? She's in Pitch Perfect.
Oh, like Rebel Wilson?
Rebel Wilson.
I think she's probably just too famous.
Yeah.
She's also kind of too old.
Bowen Yang is pretty famous. He's on SNL.
Yeah, I know. But I think Rebel Wilson's more famous than that. And also, like, Rebel Wilson's like almost, I think she's like in her 40s.
Okay, but
she's a little
we're
old.
going to act like we're at the beginning when Ariana Grande is supposed to be 40. We're supposed to believe that she's 40, and we're supposed to believe that Nessa Rose is 18 when they get to Shiz.
I'm going to say Bach looked kind of old.
He looked like a 76-year-old man. Okay, he looked like a 76-year-old
man. They just should have put a little more concealer under his eyes.
I also can't really comment on his performance because he was in it for 0.3 seconds.
Yeah, I thought he was good though.
He was barely in it at all.
Yeah, I liked the Nessa and Bach casting choices, and I thought it was clear and
I think it was well casted there.
Yeah.
Madame Morrible, what did you think?
I love Michelle Yeoh.
I think she's a star.
I think she's a star. I don't think she's a singer.
And I don't think she was familiar with Wicked as the source material.
I think that there are other like Hollywood diva actresses that could have brought a bit more depth to the role, I think.
I said to you last night, Catherine O'Hara would have been an amazing choice for Madame Morrible.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like that's a really interesting choice.
She has comedic, but she can also go dark.
I mean, even give me like Octavia Spencer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give me someone who has that.
Viola Davis, my woman.
Viola Davis would have been amazing. I mean, give me someone who has that little like extra ability to give.
Viola Davis would have crushed.
Yeah,
that.
You know what I mean? Like that extra ability to have a sweet, gentle side and then really give a hard villainous turn. I don't know if I got that level of depth from Michelle Yeoh's performance, unfortunately.
No, I did think it was a little like reading off of cue cards to me.
I don't know if she like really understood the whole point.
Right. Jeff Goldblum was fine. He was very Jeff Goldblum.
He was doing Jeff Goldblum, but like Jeff Goldblum kind of is the wizard.
Yeah, he is a mythical being himself, like as a person. So.
I've seen some really funny TikToks kind of like impersonating Jeff Goldblum as the wizard.
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh, I'm the wizard.
Well, he's just kind of like that normally.
He just kind of is
I
like
listened to him once. He did an interview on Conan's podcast, and he literally is exactly like that. Like that's
who he is.
Which is funny. And of course we had him on Drag Race. He cried during a lip sync to Katy Perry's Firework.
Well, because he was so moved.
I know, which is like, that tells you who Jeff Goldblum is.
Yeah, understand.
He was fine, I thought. And was anyone else in that movie? Did we hit everybody?
I think
Jonathan Bailey was in it.
Jonathan Bailey.
He
was good.
He's just a hot guy.
Yeah.
But
as far as hot guys go, I think he was a good choice.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like there's 100,000 hot guys.
I'm glad they casted a gay person.
Yeah.
In that role.
Why is that? Why are you glad that it was a gay actor?
Because we need more gay actors.
Yeah.
In media.
Yeah.
Like, thank God.
I liked the little like additions of kind of queerness in the story, like with Bowen Yang, kind of flirting with Fierro, even though Fierro's not gay, but like I thought they tried to include some additional kind of queer elements.
Well, they didn't exactly make Fierro straight. I mean, Fierro was like touching that other dude during his number, and it was like, there was nothing that said I'm straight about Fierro.
And like there is a lot of queerness in the novel.
Well,
Wicked.
also it's a queer allegory. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Elphaba is supposed to be a queer person.
Well, as she said to Glad, she said,
Cynthia Erivo?
Yeah, she said, Elphaba is for you.
And to the people at Glad, we love you.
To the people at Glad, we love you.
We love you. But Gregory Maguire, a gay man who wrote the book.
Yeah. And we have to correct that because we did say on a previous episode that he was. We might have already corrected this on the podcast, but we did say in a previous episode that he was a straight man, and we were just completely wrong.
He's a gay man.
He's a gay man,
and so obviously Elphaba was written to be the different one, the outcast, the queer person of the fold, and the whole story actually is a queer allegory. That included themes of government corruption and all that stuff. But
scapegoating, which happens in our government,
is happening
to gay people
right now. To gay people, immigrants, people of color, women. Although, let's be clear, a lot of women voted for this.
Yes.
So I don't have that much sympathy there.
Yeah.
But I just think the movie was so grand, so incredible.
They didn't spare a dollar. They spent every penny.
They sure did. They sure did.
And you know what? It's really worth it.
I would say go see it immediately. But see the musical first.
See the musical
fly
first.
to the Pantages.
See the musical first, then go see the movie. You will not be disappointed. This episode is not sponsored.
This episode is not sponsored. I wish it was.
But Universal Entertainment Group,
we love you. Okay? And if you want to be involved here, come on in. All right, we have nothing but time for you.
Yeah.
So
the
I don't know.
official Wicked review podcast.
That's right. We could do it each week.
Tia Coffee style.
Yeah. My God, you're hosting that Heartstopper podcast, girl. Oof. That's all I have to say about that one.
I love it.
So, the things you say just because we're on camera, honey.
I live.
Oh, please. All right. Well, that's what I have to say about this. Do you have anything else to add about the Wicked movie?
I'll say, goodness knows, the Wicked's lives are lonely. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'll say, I think I'll try.
Although,
Defying Gravity.
You're not that lonely.
Yeah.
Which really speaks to the opposite message.
It's not true. There's a lot of wicked people in the world that people have mourned.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or is he still... No, Kim Jong-il. The one that died.
Yeah, Kim Jong-il.
Yeah. They mourned the hell out of him.
Yeah.
And he's a wicked, wicked man. Or
he was. Or was wickedness thrust upon him? Honey?
Maybe.
Who knows? All right. Well, listen, we'll be doing another Wicked episode when the second movie comes out in a year.
The second movie, all of it will come together. We just have to wait 1 year.
Remember when this movie was supposed to come out in 2019?
Yeah. 2025.
It'll all end. All right. Well, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Let's Talk About That Pod.
Yeah, you can watch us on YouTube at Let's Talk About That Pod.
I'm wearing a fierce little Glinda number here.
Absolutely. You can send us an email if you have any other wicked thoughts at letstalkaboutthatpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, or any business inquiries. Come on, reach out.
Yeah.
We're here.
And go see Wicked at a movie theater near you.
That's right. So we'll see you next week on
Let's Talk About That.